Chapter 1473. There were still 3 days before the wind would stop at Moda Mountains. Gu Mengmeng had been depressed for most of the night because of Miranda and the child in her womb. In the end, Gregory had to hum a song to coax her to sleep. This was the first time Gu Mengmeng had experienced such a way of sleeping. Perhaps, her mother had coaxed her like this when she was young? But ever since her parents divorced at the age of 4, she, an orphan with both parents, had never received such treatment. Elvis and Leah treated her very well, but not being able to sing was not something that could be forced. After all, if the two of them were to howl for the entire night, it would be quite miserable and she would probably not be able to sleep. There was a tint of red in the sky and Gregory's eyes were tinged with warmth. Gu Mengmeng had slept in his arms for 3 consecutive nights. These 3 nights, he could not bear to close his eyes for even a minute, afraid that he would miss every breath she took and every faint smile she had in her dreams. Gu Mengmeng instinctively moved closer to the warmth and snuggled deeper into Gregory's arms. Gregory's large hands hugged Gu Mengmeng's back, hugging her even tighter. He liked her unconsciously moving closer and her defenseless sleeping face in his arms. Although it was a little despicable, Gregory still secretly kissed Gu Mengmeng's cheek. Humans should not do bad things. He kissed her without permission. Although it was just a light peck on her cheek, Gregory felt his heart pounding deafeningly. And the person in his arms seemed to be unhappy that his loud heartbeat was disturbing her sleep, so she frowned slightly and rubbed her little face against his chest. Only then did she continue to sleep at that relatively comfortable place. This small action shocked Gregory so much that he held his breath. It was not an overstatement to say that he was already thinking about what he should do if Gu Mengmeng abandoned him because of his secret kiss. Luckily, Gu Mengmeng's even and light breathing could be heard after a while. Only then did Gregory let out a long sigh of relief. He carried Gu Mengmeng to the entrance of the cave, wrapped her in a beast skin and hugged her tightly in his arms. Patting her little face lightly, he called out gently, "Wake up, I have a present for you." "Yeah." Gu Mengmeng replied in a daze, but her eyes were still closed. "There's really a present, wake up." Gregory whispered into Gu Mengmeng's ear. He knew she had a temper when she got up, but he really wanted her to see it once. Groaning, Gu Mengmeng opened her eyes. Just as she was about to complain about Gregory disturbing her sleep, she was stunned by the sight before her. The orange-red morning sun slowly rose and the warm sunlight shone on the Moda Mountains, adding a layer of gentle warmth to the pure white snow. Tiny spots of light shone in the snow, like a vast expanse of fine golden sand. It was extremely beautiful. "The first ray of sunlight in the morning is for you." Gregory's gaze was fixated on Gu Mengmeng's little face. He did not miss her change from feeling wronged for not having enough sleep to astonishment. His smile was gentle and blissful. It was nice of her to like his gift. Her smile at this moment was blossoming because of him. So beautiful. Gu Mengmeng could not help but exclaim. "Not as good as you." Gregory replied instinctively. Gregory spoke too softly and the wind at the entrance of the cave was too strong, so Gu Mengmeng did not hear what Gregory said. But even so, this was the first morning that Gu Mengmeng did not lose her temper after waking up naturally. Strangely, the first ray of sunlight in the morning brightened Gu Mengmeng's heart, as if all the dark clouds had been swept away. Aside from the topic, after hesitating for a long time, she still reminded her babies not to like Gregory too much. Chapter 1474. "Are you in a good mood?" Gregory asked tentatively. Gu Mengmeng nodded and stood up from Gregory's arms. She stretched lazily and walked into the cave. As she walked, she said, "In the past, when I was working, I often had to wake up very early. That was because I had no other choice. Therefore, at that time, I had a wish. When I had money in the future, I would wake up naturally every day and never wake up early. In the end, I didn't have money, but I had Elvis and Leah. The title of the messenger of the beast deity fulfilled my wish of sleeping as long as I wanted. I would throw a tantrum at whoever dared to wake me up." As Gu Mengmeng spoke, she had already sat by the side of the bonfire. She wrapped herself in a beast skin and sat by the fire to warm herself. Then, she hugged her knees and swayed her body. She smiled sweetly as she recalled the past and continued, "Do you know? Elvis and Leia know I have a bad temper, so they never wake me. And there was one time when a female in the tribe made a ruckus at my door early in the morning, disturbing my sleep. I angrily went out and beat her up. The two of them didn't beat the females, but they beat up all the males in the female's family until they were half dead. From then on, no one dared to disturb my sleep." Gregory had already walked to Gu Mengmeng's side. He added 4 to 5 ice cups into the pot and boiled it for Gu Mengmeng to wash and drink. Gu Mengmeng said as she watched, "But today is an exception, the sunrise is just too beautiful." The sun lit up the entire sky bit by bit. Every step was difficult, but who could stop daybreak? My father had always told me that what the previous messenger of the beast deity brought to the beast world was faith, while what I wanted to bring to the beast world was hope. But I didn't know what hope was. Could it be that eating, drinking, and having fun with my partner every day was called hope? It can't be. Today, my confusion seems to have suddenly cleared up. I'm not the sun, and I don't have boundless radiance. However, my existence itself is hope. Gregory did not interrupt Gu Mengmeng. He liked to listen to her speak, anything was fine. To him, her voice was the most beautiful movement, the most beautiful melody. No matter how much she chattered, he listened to her every word very carefully. Even though the past had nothing to do with him, as long as it was related to her, he was interested. No matter what difficulties you encounter, no matter what pain you feel, even if you feel that you can't take it anymore and can't hold on any longer. At times like this, they would think, "It's okay, we still have the messenger of the beast deity. No matter how difficult it is, we have to hold on, because she will definitely come to save us." The so-called sadness meant that even though it was difficult, it would eventually pass. Once we get through the most difficult times, everything will get better. Even if I didn't appear, they would still push the credit to me, saying that it was the messenger of the beast deity who gave them hope and allowed them to get through those hardships. Wasn't it a little shameless to say that? It seems like I'm overestimating myself. Gregory scooped some warm water from the pot for Gu Mengmeng to wash up. As he watched her rinse her mouth, he said, "Don't undervalue yourself." Chapter 1475. Gu Mengmeng was stunned for a moment before she burst out laughing. She could not be blamed for being smitten. It was really too weird, too funny, and too mushy for Gregory to say such romantic words with a serious tone, as if he was reciting the mind-cleansing incantation. "You said that in your world, there's a phrase called reciprocity." Gregory ignored Gu Mengmeng's silly smile. Anyway, no matter what she did, she would always be cute in his eyes. Gu Mengmeng nodded, as a reply to Gregory's question. Gregory lowered his eyelids and chuckled, "I feel that this phrase is very good, I like it very much." Huh? Gu Mengmeng looked at Gregory in confusion. Gregory felt a little awkward, but still said, "I gave you a present that you like, shouldn't you return a present that makes me feel better?" Gu Mengmeng opened the beast skin and said, "You saw it too, I don't have anything on me now, so I can't take out a present. But I can remember it first, after we descend the mountain, I will also prepare a present for you, how about that?" Gregory shook his head and said, "I want it now. But I don't have anything now." Gu Mengmeng shrugged her shoulders helplessly. "You do," Gregory said with certainty. The corner of Gu Mengmeng's mouth twitched, and she looked troubled. "Didn't we agree not to mate? Could this Gregory be? What do you want? Tell me first." Gu Mengmeng had already thought of herself as romantic once, and did not want to do it again, so she felt that it was better to clarify things first. Gregory's face was slightly red, and there was a suspicious shade of pink on his ears. "Since I already have a status, shouldn't you give me something special?" Seeing Gregory's bashful look, Gu Mengmeng's heart skipped a beat. She took 2 steps back and wrapped the beast skin even tighter around herself. She said defensively, "Gregory, we have been getting along well these few days, but I treat you as family, that matter, I can't do it." Gregory looked at Gu Mengmeng's guarded expression, and his gaze dimmed. He lowered his head and said in disappointment, "All right. Since you are not willing, then I will be like everyone else, and keep calling you Gu Meng Meng." Wait a minute. Gu Meng Meng blinked her eyes. In a daze, she felt that she was imagining things again, so she asked, "What do you want special?" "Name." Grace spat out the two words in low spirits. Gu Meng Meng held her forehead and relaxed. She did not know whether to laugh or cry. That's right, how could she forget? The males in the beast world liked to give their females nicknames that were similar to nicknames. Leah called her Meng Meng, Elvis called her Xiao Meng, Snake called her Tu Meng, and even that pervert Cole called her Ah Gu. Having a nickname that belonged exclusively to a male was a great affirmation and satisfaction for a male. Oriton didn't have one because he didn't need it. He didn't need anything other than stewed meat. Gu Meng Meng rubbed herself against Gregory and proactively leaned on his shoulder. She smiled and said, "I thought you were going to say something. Wasn't it just a name?" "Yes, of course. What do you want to call me? Is it really possible?" Gregory's eyes lit up when he saw hope after falling to the bottom of the abyss. Gu Meng Meng nodded and said, "Sure, go ahead. I can accept anything as long as it's not too disgusting." Gregory pursed his lips and said hesitantly, "Baby Meng." Chapter 1476. Gu Meng Meng means the most precious treasure. Gregory added, his tone filled with caution. Gu Meng Meng herself felt embarrassed. Not the most precious treasure, no? The anticipation in Gregory's eyes was so obvious that it made Gu Meng Meng feel like she would be committing treason if she said no. Nodding, she said, "All right, as long as you like it." Gregory smiled, smiling so blissfully. "Baby Meng." "Yeah. Baby Meng." Sigh. "Baby Meng." There were still 2 days before the wind stopped. Gregory told Gu Meng Meng that Elvis and Leah had already reached the foot of the mountain. They found a cave there that could shelter them from the wind and temporarily settle down with Wabi. They could leave together after Gu Meng Meng retrieved the love of the sky 2 days later. Gu Meng Meng wanted to go down the mountain to see Elvis and Leah. She had not seen them for 4 days. This was the first time she had been separated from them for such a long time since they became partners. Gregory hesitated for a moment, but still shook his head. "You will be leaving after retrieving the love of the sky the day after tomorrow. Accompany me for these 2 days, all right?" Recalling what Gregory had said that day, Gu Meng Meng hesitated for a moment, but still nodded. Gregory would not leave with her. He was lonely most of the year and she could not even guarantee that she would accompany him during the dry season every year. And how many chances did he really have to go down the mountain to look for her? She could not even bear to be separated from Elvis and Leah for 4 days. Then what would Gregory do in the future? Forget it, she would just accompany him for these 2 days. Gregory hugged Gu Meng Meng and sat by the fire. He reached out a hand and asked, "Can I hold your hand for a while?" Gu Meng Meng placed her little hand in his. Turning back, she saw the happiness in Gregory's eyes almost flowing out. Gu Meng Meng laughed softly. Gregory's cold and aloof persona had completely collapsed. He was practically a young boy experiencing his first awakening of love. Even the smallest things could make him extremely happy. Your hand is so beautiful." Gu Meng Meng pulled Gregory's hand over in surprise and scrutinized it repeatedly. She said, "I always thought that Lee's hand was the prettiest, just like a scholar's, slender and well-proportioned. But yours is different. It's more masculine, with distinct joints and smooth contours. Not only is this thin callus not a flaw, it also makes one feel safe. If Lee's hand is the hand that holds books, then your hand is the hand that holds the sword, one hand holding the sword while the other holding the wine, roaming the pugilistic world in fresh clothes." Gregory had never felt that there was anything special about his hands, but when Gu Meng Meng singled it out and praised it, he started to take note of it. He had to take good care of these hands in the future. After all, it was what she liked. "I don't want to hold the sword, I only want to hold you." Gregory held Gu Meng Meng's hand and kissed it. After kissing her, he realized that he had crossed the line. Then, he looked at Gu Mengmeng's expression anxiously. Seeing that she was not angry, he felt much more at ease. He smiled faintly and said, "Forever. Then after I get the love of the sky, follow me down the mountain." "If you stay on the mountain, how can you hold me forever?" Gu Mengmeng made use of the pretext to make a fuss. She did not give up on persuading Gregory to leave with her. Instead, she wanted to make use of every possibility to kidnap Gregory. Chapter 1477. Gregory smiled but didn't reply. He just kissed the back of Gu Mengmeng's hand again. Even if it was just the back of her hand, it was a great comfort and happiness for Gregory to be allowed to kiss her openly. "As long as I think of you in my heart, it will be for the rest of my life." With that, Gregory held Gu Mengmeng's hand with one hand and placed the other on her shoulder. "I still have to make a trip to the stream. Firstly, it is to collect your food for today. Secondly, it is to introduce Lucas to Oriton. You know how protective Oriton is. I am afraid that Oriton will not give Lucas anything if he goes alone." Gu Mengmeng nodded. Then, she grinned. "Then hurry back. I will wait for you at home." 2 keywords. One home, and the other wait. Gregory's chest tightened. He held Gu Mengmeng's hand and kissed it. Then, he reluctantly let go of her and spread his wings to fly off. Gu Mengmeng sat by the fire. She used the tree sap to poke at the fire to make it burn brighter. The smile on her face gradually faded. Her left hand clutched at her heart. Gu Mengmeng felt that something was making her uneasy. By right, everything should be progressing in a good direction. 2 days later, the wind stopped. Gregory brought her to retrieve the love of the sky. Elvis and Leah had already safely reached the foot of the mountain with Wabi. There didn't seem to be any problems. Miranda was pregnant with a child with the bloodline of the Beast King. Although she didn't know how to open that door, she would try her best to protect that child. Cole could not ascend the Moda Mountains. He would definitely not cause any trouble when retrieving the love of the sky. Saint Nazir had Barit, Zacharias had Peter. Although Sauter had Cole, who was like a ticking time bomb, Leah had already made the appropriate arrangements. Moreover, Hada and Jiayu were not only protected by Sandy's family, but also by the entire Wolf clan and the 16 tribes. Even Cole would not be able to do anything to them in a short period of time. So what was she worried about? What had she missed out? Why did she feel so uneasy? Gu Mengmeng sat there in a daze. She was still in a daze when Gregory returned. Grace took the burnt resin from her hand and threw it into the fire. He hugged her gently and asked, "What's wrong?" Gu Mengmeng snapped out of her trance and quickly collected her thoughts. She smiled and said, "You're back." "Yes." Gregory tidied up the beast skin on Gu Mengmeng and looked at her worriedly. "What were you thinking about just now? You didn't even realize I was back." Gu Mengmeng lowered her head and said, "Nothing, I just suddenly felt a little uneasy." "Say, do you think there will be any problems with us obtaining the love of the sky?" Gregory hugged her even tighter and placed his chin on the top of her head, telling her in a mellow voice, "Don't worry, I'm here." Gu Mengmeng nodded and chuckled. "By right, I am the Beast King and you are a third-level beast. I should be stronger than you. But strangely, when you hug me like this, I feel very at ease. That little bit of panic is gone in an instant. Alright, in the future, whenever you feel uneasy, I will hug you like this." Gregory replied with a smile, his gaze gentle and determined. Tomorrow was the day the wind would stop. Gu Mengmeng leaned against the cave entrance and gazed into the distance. Chapter 1478. Gregory's voice resonated with his chest, shaking Gu Mengmeng's eardrums. "Still worried? He's been absent-minded since yesterday." Gu Mengmeng nodded. Looking at the night sky, she said helplessly, "Yeah, the sky is already dark. An entire day has passed. I don't even know what I am worried about, but I just feel very uneasy. Gregory remained silent for a moment before asking hesitantly, in the past, what did Elvis and Leah do when you felt uneasy? Gu Mengmeng was taken aback. She shook her head and said, I am not a sentimental person. This is the first time I have felt uneasy for no reason. Gregory sighed softly and said, so, should I feel honored? The first time you felt uneasy for no reason, I was the one accompanying you. Gu Mengmeng was amused by Gregory's words. She said, why don't you tell me about your childhood? I can divert my attention and maybe everything will be fine. Childhood? Gregory countered. Gu Mengmeng nodded and said, I have been here for the past few days. I feel that although the scenery on Moda Mountains is unique and majestic, but after looking at it for 10 years, the mountains are no longer mountains and the snow is no longer snow. How did you live your life in the past? I am a little curious. Gregory thought about it seriously, then shook his head and said with a bitter smile, I forgot. Forgot? Gu Mengmeng could not help but ask curiously. Gregory nodded and replied, I have thought about it seriously. All my memories seem to have started from the first time I saw you in solder. Then how did I spend the first 10 long years of my life? Other than flying day and night. I don't remember anything else. Gregory tightened his grip on Gu Mengmeng's arm. He chuckled and said, this feeling is quite good. My life started from the moment I met you. So you are my everything. And now that I am hugging you, my life is complete. Gu Mengmeng smiled and said, I am so important and you are not leaving with me. Gregory sighed and did not reply to Gu Mengmeng. He just pointed at the night sky and said, isn't the night sky beautiful from here? Gu Mengmeng knew that he was intentionally changing the topic and did not expose him. She just nodded and said, yeah, very beautiful. In my world, the air pollution is very serious, especially in S City where I live. There are almost no stars at night. It's weird, I've been in the beast world for more than 4 years but I've never had a chance to look at the stars properly. Since we've reached the top today, why don't you accompany me to see if there are any constellations that I can recognize? All right. I will accompany you. Gregory's gaze landed on Gu Mengmeng's face the entire time. How could the starlight compare to her brilliance? Gu Mengmeng gestured for a long time but could not even find the Big Dipper. She sighed and shook her head, saying, when I was in school, I could just open my mouth and talk about horoscopes and whatnot. But in the end, I couldn't even recognize a single star. Gregory didn't mind. He just smiled and said, what's so important about knowing each other? It's fine as long as it looks good. Gu Mengmeng nodded in agreement. I like people like you who still help me out when I fail to act cool. Gu Mengmeng chuckled and said, I can't recognize all the stars but I do know a few stories about them. Let me tell you a story as compensation. Chapter 1479. After thinking for a while, Gu Mengmeng pointed casually and said, there was once a fairy who was curious about the things in the mortal world, so she secretly went down to the mortal world to travel. In the mortal world, she fell in love with a man, a male. The fairy's mother was furious when she found out about it. She probably felt that her family's diamond-studded 24K pure gold cabbage was stolen by a wild boar of unknown origin. So she brought the fairy back to the heavenly court and forbade the two of them from meeting. Gregory nodded and said, if our daughter falls in love with a wild boar, I won't be happy either. Gu Mengmeng, wild boar was just a metaphor, all right? Moreover, where did our daughter come from? She already said she wouldn't mate with him. Seeing that Gu Mengmeng's expression was not good, Gregory hurriedly tried to salvage the situation. Of course, if you agree, I have no objections. But, it's best not to be the first partner. Females from the bird's tribe should at least find their first partner within the tribe. The more Gregory spoke, the more he seemed to be serious. Gu Mengmeng was momentarily speechless and could not even be bothered to refute him. Seeing that Gu Mengmeng was not saying anything, Gregory thought that Gu Mengmeng had silently agreed to it. He was very happy, not because he had the right to speak on the issue of female partners, but because the fact that he could discuss their child with her was enough to make him happy. even though he knew better than Gu Mengmeng that there would be no child between them. Then? What happened after that? Gregory smiled and continued to ask. He wanted to hear more from Gu Mengmeng. Gu Mengmeng said, after the fairy's mother brought the fairy back to the heavenly court, the fairy cried non-stop and washed her face with tears every day. The cowherd on the ground also missed his wife very much, but he could not do anything about it. After that, a cow in their family became a demon and told the cowherd that he could go up to the heavens to meet the weaver maiden if he were to skin the cow and wear it. The cowherd did as he was told, then carried a pole and brought his children up to the heavens to meet the weaver maiden. After the Queen Mother of the West knew about it, she flew into a rage and used her hairpin to draw a line. Then, a galaxy appeared between the cowherd and the weaver maiden. It's the galaxy formed by the stars in the sky. It was boundless and could not be crossed. After that, a group of magpies could not stand it any longer. Wasn't this mother-in-law a little too hard to please? Although the male prostitute was not very rich, he at least had a house, land, and a cow. Besides, they had already given birth to a child. What was the point of forcibly separating them? Therefore, they spontaneously built the Magpie Bridge. Every year on the 7th day of the 7th month, they helped the cowherd and the weaver maid cross the Milky Way to meet for one day. After Gu Mengmeng finished, she chuckled and said, "Actually, I feel that this story is quite tragic, but I don't know why everyone says it's romantic." Then, on Chinese Valentine's Day every year, everyone would use this as a reason to celebrate. Couples all over the world would show off their love and show off their affection. I still can't understand why a couple can only see each other once a year. What's there to celebrate? Gregory smiled and said, "All right, that's the end of the story. Go to sleep. We still have to get Love of the Sky tomorrow." Gu Mengmeng thought about it and nodded. "I hope everything goes smoothly." Chapter 1480. The next morning, Gu Mengmeng did not need Gregory to wake her up as she had already woken up. The moment she opened her eyes, she met Gregory's gaze. She was in a daze for a moment before smiling. "Hi, good morning. Baby Meng, good morning." Gregory replied with a smile, before standing up to add 5 ice cups into the pot. He turned around to tidy up the beast's skin on Gu Mengmeng and said, "The wind is much weaker now. After you wash up and eat something, I will bring you to fly around the Moda Mountains and let you see the scenery." Gu Mengmeng nodded. Gu Mengmeng smiled and nodded. "I just mentioned it casually that day. You still remember it?" Gregory smiled faintly and nodded. "I remember what I promised you." Gu Mengmeng punched Gregory's chest and smiled mischievously. "Io, you're such a warm guy." Gregory covered her little fist and pressed it against his heart. He said softly, "Only you will be the only one who will warm up." Because she was going to get the love of the sky today, Gu Mengmeng was a little excited. She did not want to eat and wanted to set off immediately. However, Gregory did not agree and said that she had to eat first or else he would not bring her out. Her heart was full of resentment. She pestered Grace with soft and hard tactics, but when she was pestering him, Grace forced her to eat a whole rabbit bite by bite. Only then was he done. "Come up." Gregory stood at the entrance of the cave with his back facing Gu Mengmeng. Gu Mengmeng climbed onto Gregory's back without saying a word. It was easy to form habits. She still remembered how uncomfortable she was when she first got on Gregory's back and how awkward she was. Now, she felt more at ease. "This is my first time flying in a half-orc form. I don't know if I can control it well, so hold on tight. If I transform into my beast form midway, don't hesitate and grab onto my feathers tightly. Do you understand?" Gregory reminded her. Gu Mengmeng nodded in agreement. Gregory did not seem assured and reminded her again. "Don't be afraid even if I can't catch you. I will definitely catch you." "I know." Gu Mengmeng smiled sweetly and hung onto Gregory's back. She wrapped her arms around his neck and wrapped her legs around his waist. Her little head rested on his shoulder, just like a mischievous little monkey. Gregory transformed his hands into wings and flapped them twice. Then, with a push of his feet, he soared into the sky. The wind howled on both sides. Gregory did not seem to be used to flying in his half-beast form, but his bird-like instincts allowed him to find a balance very quickly. Not long after, he was flying steadily and steadily. Gu Mengmeng was extremely surprised. She had sat on a plane before, but not outside it. Moreover, the plane would not be controlled by her like Gregory. She could fly anywhere she wanted. Wah! The scenery in front of her retreated rapidly. Although the wind had stopped, the cold air was still there. It did not feel cold when it blew on Gu Mengmeng's face, just refreshing. Gregory led Gu Mengmeng in circles above the Moda Mountains. The map that they had been flying on for 10 years seemed especially different today. The sun was shining brightly, the wind was warm, and the beauty was on his back. What more could he ask for? If it could always be like this, how good would it be? It's about time, let's go get love of the sky. Gregory tilted his head and said to Gu Mengmeng. In the past, Gregory had always flown with her in his beast form. Her entire body would be covered by his feathers and her vision would be obstructed. This was the first time she had flown so freely and it felt rather exciting. It was a pity to stop like this, but getting love of the sky was a serious matter and could not be delayed. So, Gu Mengmeng tilted her head and smiled. All right, then let's get love of the sky first. After we get it, if there's still no wind, bring me to fly another 2 rounds, all right? Aside from the topic, previously, she had stayed up too long to save up her chapters. Now, her left eye was bloodshot and frighteningly red. But she had already taken out all her saved chapters during the explosive update. Now, she could not rest even if she wanted to, she could not possibly stop updating. The new month had just begun and she had already received 30 monthly tickets. Susu was overwhelmed by the favor. Seeing that all of you like me so much, no matter how hard it was all worth it. There were no more explosive updates for the time being. Susu had to rest her eyes to ensure that the updates were stable. Chapter 1481. Gregory's lips curled into a bitter smile, but he still nodded and said, all right. Gu Mengmeng was behind Gregory and could not see his expression clearly. She only heard him instruct again, I'm going to transform, hold on tight. Yeah. Gu Mengmeng was in a state of excitement, even her reply was full of vigor. Gregory transformed into his full beast form in the air and Gu Mengmeng could not hold onto his overly broad shoulders, so she could only slide down to his shoulder blade and grab onto his feathers to stabilize her body. Her vision was obstructed and she could not see the situation outside, but she could feel that Gregory was flying upwards at a very steep incline. She didn't know if it was because she was close to love of the sky or because she had just experienced the pleasure of flying, but she felt that it was very exciting. She exclaimed loudly and excitedly as if she was riding a roller coaster. Her screams caused Gregory's adrenaline to surge. The height that he usually had to fly to alone was now filled with energy and he rushed up in an instant. When he landed firmly, Gregory heaved a long sigh of relief. He transformed into a human and put Gu Mengmeng down. Gu Mengmeng looked around curiously and realized that this was the peak of the mountain that looked like a snake from afar. There were 2 huge caves on both sides that looked like the eyes of a snake. Gu Mengmeng leaned towards one of the caves curiously and felt that it was pitch black. There was light but it could not reach the inside of the cave. Cold air slowly flowed out from the entrance of the cave. Gu Mengmeng squinted her eyes and could only see that there seemed to be something sealed in ice in the depths of the cave. What's there? Gu Mengmeng asked Gregory. Gregory smiled and did not answer. He just pulled Gu Mengmeng to the other side and said, love of the sky is not in the cave, don't go over there. I'll just take a look. Gu Mengmeng was curious. Since she had already come up, she had to take a look. Take a look after taking love of the sky. I'm afraid that it will be troublesome if the wind blows. Gregory still pulled Gu Mengmeng and did not let her go over. Gu Mengmeng did not insist. She thought that it was more important to settle the serious matters first. So Gu Mengmeng followed Gregory to the center. There was a depression in the middle of the two snake eyes. The temporary melting of the snow had resulted in a puddle of clear water. Gu Mengmeng reached out her hand to touch it, but was stopped by Gregory. He shook his head and said, "If you touch water formed from thousand-year ice, you can't keep this hand." Then Gu Mengmeng was confused. "Leave it to me." With that, Gregory pulled Gu Mengmeng behind him. Then he transformed his hands into wings and flapped them with all his might. The puddle of water was blown out and splashed outside the pit. The moment it touched the ground, it froze into a thin layer of sparkling ice crystals. Gu Mengmeng leaned on Gregory's shoulder and watched as the water droplets flew out like fireworks. Like a curious child, she smiled happily and said, "You're amazing, brother." Gregory smiled indulgently and helplessly and said, "Love of the sky is over there, go and take it." Gu Mengmeng crawled out from behind Gregory and stretched her body towards the depression. Indeed, she saw a pair of wings that looked like transparent ice sculptures lying flat on the ground. The size was huge and it felt like it was 2 sizes bigger than Gregory's wings. Chapter 1482. Gu Mengmeng squatted down and reached out to touch that wing. It was very strange. She could clearly see it but she could not touch it. There was a sense of déjà vu but it felt like air. Gu Mengmeng turned back to look at Gregory in confusion. Gregory said, "Lie down and use your back to touch the wing." Oh. Gu Mengmeng did as she was told. Then, she laid on the ground with her back facing the sky. Then, a piercing pain pierced through her heart. Ah! Gu Mengmeng felt something piercing through her shoulder blade. In that instant, she was in so much pain that her entire body convulsed and screamed. "Baby Meng." Gregory's eyes turned red from Gu Mengmeng's heart-wrenching scream. He wanted to go forward to pull Gu Mengmeng up but he could not get close to her at all. With Gu Mengmeng as the eye of the wind, a huge ring of wind rapidly expanded outwards, sweeping up everything in this world as it spiraled upwards. A visible tornado was formed just like that. Gregory withstood the sharp wind and approached Gu Mengmeng with difficulty step by step. Even when the remnant ice of the tornado cut through his skin like countless blades, he did not take a step back and continued to approach Gu Mengmeng with determination. His baby Meng was screaming in the eye of the wind. He had to go over and protect her. He had promised her that he would protect her no matter what, so he had to go over. The sharp shards of ice attacked him at lightning speed. He barely avoided the fatal shard of ice that was aimed at his neck but could not avoid the shard of ice that was aimed at his eye. The wind was too strong and the ice was too sharp. Before he could even feel the pain, blood had already flowed down from the corner of his eye. His heart was completely in the eye of the wind as Gu Mengmeng screamed. Gregory did not even realize that one of his eyes was already blind. The ring of wind continued to expand and the wind grew stronger. Even Gregory had never experienced such a level of wind in the past 10 years. If not for the fact that the eye of the wind was Gu Mengmeng, he would have been blown away. Every step was difficult but he did not take a step back. When Gregory's fingertips finally touched Gu Mengmeng, his heart that was in his throat finally calmed down. Clenching his teeth, he took a step forward and hugged Gu Mengmeng in his arms. She must be in so much pain that she could not even make a sound after screaming. Her eyes were tightly shut and her forehead was covered in sweat. The veins on her temples were clearly visible. She clenched her fists tightly and blood dripped from her palms. It was obvious that her nails were embedded into her flesh. "Baby Meng, baby Meng." Gregory anxiously called her name and held her tightly in his arms. "Don't be afraid, I'm here." Gregory opened his arms and transformed them into wings, wrapping Gu Mengmeng tightly in his arms. Then, he walked out of the storm one step at a time. When they arrived at the edge of the cave that Gu Mengmeng wanted to see, Gregory's wings had already been sliced into pieces by the ice shards. His flesh was badly mutilated and it was a horrible sight to behold. He placed Gu Mengmeng, who had fainted from the pain, on the ground and knelt in front of a statue that was sealed in ice. He prayed sincerely. Please transfer all the pain that Gu Mengmeng had suffered to me. I am willing to suffer double the pain in exchange for her safety. The howling wind gradually calmed down. Gregory endured the injuries all over his body and tied Gu Mengmeng tightly to his back with the beast's skin. He ignored the countless wounds on his wings that were so deep that the bones could be seen and spread his wings forcefully to fly. Chapter 1483. When Gu Mengmeng woke up, Elvis was sprinting with her in his arms. Elvis rarely sprinted like this. In the past, no matter how they rushed, Elvis would always be able to do it with ease. He had never been in such a pathetic state. He did not look like he was rushing, he looked like he was running away. Leah followed closely behind Elvis. Both of them were extremely focused on what was in front of them. Their feet did not stop for even a moment. Only a series of light footprints were left on the loose snow, showing how fast they were running. It was as if they were flying across the snow. Gu Mengmeng was in a daze for a moment. She ignored the oncoming cold wind and struggled to stand up. She surveyed her surroundings and confirmed that she was still within the boundaries of the Moda Mountains. Elvis and Leah were still around, but Gregory and Wabi were nowhere to be seen. Where are they? Gu Mengmeng asked with a frown. Her words caused Elvis and Leah to stop in their tracks and sink into the snow. The snow was up to their chest, but the two of them did not seem to feel it. They looked at Gu Mengmeng with a deep gaze. Gu Mengmeng could clearly see Elvis's jaw muscles bulging up and down, as if he was gritting his teeth and deliberating over something. Something happened, right? Gu Mengmeng narrowed her eyes. I could not have jumped down by myself, so Gregory must have handed me over to you. But he was not with you, under normal circumstances, even if he did not request it. You and Leah would not carry me and run in the snow instead of letting Gregory carry me on a more comfortable path. So, something happened to Gregory? After Gu Mengmeng said that, her gaze swept across Elvis and Lee's faces. They were silent because they had promised not to lie to her. So, Gu Mengmeng guessed correctly. Taking a deep breath, Gu Mengmeng continued. What about Wabi? Something happened to him too, right? Judging from the way the two of you ran just now, there must be danger behind us. Under such circumstances, as long as Wabi was not dead, he would not leave me behind, so now, he is either dead or in a situation worse than death. Otherwise, even if he was frozen stiff, the two of you would not leave him behind. After all, if something happened to little shit, I would definitely be upset. And the two of you would not do anything that would upset me unless it was absolutely necessary. Tell me, what happened to them? Gu Mengmeng stared into their eyes and asked. Mengmeng, we only have half a day's time to run out. After half a day, the wind will rise again. That kind of cold is not something that we can endure. So within half a day, we have to leave the Moda mountain range. I will explain to you after we get out, alright? Leah tried to persuade Gu Mengmeng, but she shook her head and said, both of you leave first. Xiao Meng, stop fooling around. Elvis said coldly. Gu Mengmeng hugged Elvis tightly and said, I don't know what happened to Gregory, but it must be because of me. Since he's under my name now, I can't leave him to face danger alone. As for little shit, I promised before I came in that as long as I still have a breath left in me, I will bring him out the same way I brought him in. Gregory is at the highest peak of the Moda Mountains. You can't even reach him. Elvis hugged Gu Mengmeng tightly and said, Xiao Meng, listen to me. Let's go first. Gu Mengmeng shook her head and smiled. You guys can't go up, but I can. Chapter 1484. Gu Mengmeng circled one round before saying, You and Leah leave Moda Mountains first. I will go back to look for Gregory and little shit. Believe me, I know my life is related to yours, so I will definitely not let myself be in danger. Once I realize that the situation is out of control, I will immediately leave. Elvis and Leah exchanged glances and gritted their teeth, finally compromising, We will accompany you. Gu Mengmeng shook her head and said, you said it yourself, Gregory is at the peak of Moda Mountains, the two of you can't even go up. Once the wind blows, the two of you will not be able to unleash your fighting abilities and not be able to help me. I will have to take care of the two of you instead. Listen to me, both of you wait outside first, don't distract me. With that, Gu Mengmeng turned and flew towards the highest peak of Moda Mountains. That place was easy to recognize, it was the tallest of all the mountains, shaped like a snake. She did not know if it was because Gregory had taught her how to fly after bringing her a few rounds today. Although her first flight was strenuous, it was not difficult. She did not have a good grasp of balance, but at least she did not fall off. Flying was like an instinct, and this instinct came with the wings, it had nothing to do with her. Elvis and the rest did not know how long they had been running, but Gu Mengmeng only flew for about 20 minutes before returning to the peak of Moda Mountains. And when she saw Gregory, she was completely stunned. Tears could not help but fall down her face. Her heart was clenched so tightly that it hurt. That was the kind of heartache that caused tears to fall one by one before she could even sniffle. Gregory, it was a simple word, but it made the person who had his back to her stiffen. He did not turn back, he just said with difficulty, "We agreed that you would leave after taking the love of the sky, and you are not allowed to turn back. Why did you come back? You are my male, how can I abandon you and leave alone?" Gu Mengmeng replied Gregory with a thick sobbing tone. She walked step by step towards the back view that was covered in wounds. There were so many wounds on his body, so many that she could not even count them clearly. His entire body was bleeding, as if he was not afraid that he would not stop bleeding until his blood ran dry. And the most shocking thing was the two hideous wounds on his shoulder blades. His wings were gone. The wings, which were supposed to be as strong and powerful as the heavenly ambassador, were now only left with two badly mangled wounds. She did not dare to ask. She did not dare to ask where his wings had gone. She could only hold back her tears and said, "Gregory, I'm back for you. Come with me, okay? Baby Meng, don't come over." Gregory did not turn his head at all, only facing his back to her. The pride of a male allowed him to endure all the pain without shedding a single tear, but her appearance easily destroyed his psychological defense. All his indestructibility was shattered into dust when she said, "I'm back to pick you up." Chapter 1485. Why do you want me to leave? Why can't we leave together? Gu Mengmeng could not hold back her tears. She wiped her face harshly and sniffled. Then, she begged, "Gregory, didn't you say that I am the most important thing to you? Didn't you say that as long as I coax you, you will listen to everything I say? I will coax you now, I can coax you however I want. Leave with me, all right?" Gregory's voice was choked with sobs and he could not help but tremble. He said, "Baby Meng, be good. Don't cry. Now. I can no longer hug you to comfort you. It's all right. It's all right if you can't hug me. I can hug you. Let me hug you. I won't cry if I hug you, all right?" Gu Mengmeng tried to take another step forward. Gregory growled, "If you come any closer, I can only jump down from here. Don't be rash. I won't go over. I won't go over, all right?" Gu Mengmeng was so scared that she did not dare to take another step back. She was afraid that he would really jump down in agitation. She even took a step back. "I'm going back, going back. Please don't jump. You don't have wings now. Although I can fly, I'm not good at it. I'm afraid I can't catch you. I'm timid. Don't scare me. I beg you, sob. I'm scared. I won't jump if you don't come over. So don't be afraid. Don't make my heart ache. Be good. Leave before the wind rises, all right?" Gregory's words were coaxing, sincere and even pleading. Gu Mengmeng shook her head. "Leave with me. I'll bring you along before the wind rises. Aren't you waiting for me to like you? I like you, all right? Leave with me. I will definitely like you properly in the future. I will treat you very, very well. Leave with me. I beg you. Ah, all right. Gregory sighed deeply and said helplessly, I've said it before, I don't want to show a pitiful look in front of you to gain your sympathy. So, don't say that you like me at a time like this. Let me preserve my last pride as a bird, okay? No, 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 no. What bullsh asterisk T pride, how much is it worth? Gu Mengmeng shouted hysterically, as long as you come with me, I don't want any pride or self-respect. I'll give them all to you. I just beg you to come with me. This was the Moda Mountains. Now that Gregory had no wings and was covered in injuries, it was obvious what would happen to him if he stayed. Gu Mengmeng was already carrying Snake's life, she could not afford to carry Gregory's life anymore. She was the one who wanted the love of the sky. If there was a price to be paid, she should be the one to pay. Why should others suffer for her? Why should others pay for her life? She didn't want it, she didn't want it. Baby Meng, don't be like this. Gregory's back was facing Gu Mengmeng the entire time. He took 2 deep breaths to force himself to sound as though he was calm. Then, he slowly said, between us, it has always been a countdown. Regardless of whether it was in Sauder or later on in the Moda Mountains, I was always counting down the days when I would lose you. It's better this way, at least I don't have to worry about losing you in the next second. Chapter 1486. Baby Meng, be good, stop fooling around. Gregory lowered his head. My life started from the day I met you. You gave me the meaning of living. This situation now is the happiest for me. Because I have loved you completely for my entire life and you have also made me happy for my entire life. What nonsense are you talking about? Our lives are still very long. Follow me and I will tell you how long a lifetime is. Gregory shook his head. Baby Meng, I lied to you. Gu Mengmeng was taken aback. I don't mind. I forgive you. No matter what you lied to me, I will not be angry at you. Really, I'm really not angry. So, come with me, okay? Gregory replied. Actually, I knew from the start that I would not be able to leave after you obtained the love of the sky. Gu Mengmeng was stunned. Countless moments of their conversation replayed in her mind. He was always perfunctory. He said that after she obtained the love of the sky, he would stay in the Moda Mountains to fulfill his responsibilities as a leader. He said that he would wait for the dry season for her to come to the Moda Mountains to avoid the heat and reunite with him. He even said that he would fly down the mountains to look for her when he was free. She had felt that something was off then. Now, it seemed like he was just being perfunctory. No wonder every time she asked him to leave with her, he would either change the topic or not respond. From the start, he knew what kind of price someone had to pay for her to obtain the love of the sky. So he had planned to die for her from the start? The funny thing was, she was still eagerly counting down the days. Day after day, she waited in front of him for the day the wind stopped. She looked forward to obtaining the love of the sky as soon as possible. What she was looking forward to was not the love of the sky. What she was looking forward to was Gregory's death. What kind of emotions did he harbor when he brought her to fly 2 rounds in the sky? What kind of emotions did he harbor when he told her, there's not much time left? Let's go and obtain the love of the sky first. What kind of emotions did he harbor when he heard her say, if you are still not angry after obtaining the love of the sky, let's fly 2 more rounds? And what kind of emotions did he use to reply her with, all right? Damn it, Gu Mengmeng had never felt so terrible before. What had she done? I lied to you about the love of the sky. Gregory slowly opened his mouth and said, that bird did not fall in love with the beast, but with the previous messenger of the beast deity. He didn't leave behind his wings and the beast to fly far away to live a peaceful and happy life. Instead, he stayed here to watch over someone for her. Wait for that strand of soul to return. Gu Mengmeng was at a loss and did not know how to react. She could only listen to Gregory's words in a daze. You wanted to enter, but I didn't let you enter the cave. That's the real body of the bird, the one without wings. Gregory sighed and continued, according to legend, this mountain was transformed from the most beloved partner of the previous messenger of the beast deity after her death. His body and soul were scattered all over the beast world and he needed to wait for a fated person to collect them again. When everything was back in place, the partner she loved the most would be resurrected. So, the previous messenger of the beast deity arranged for different people to guard different places to protect that person's body and soul. Chapter 1487. The marriage agreement between the vulture tribe and that great one was set because of this. Gregory purposely spoke in a relaxed tone, as if he was talking about something unrelated to his life. But no matter how he tried to play it down, he could not change the cruel truth. To be able to hear that great one's messenger's summons, that is the inheritance of the bloodline. Only this bloodline can keep this mountain under control. So, this pair of wings that I took was exchanged with your wings, right? Gu Mengmeng uttered this most direct conclusion word by word. Gregory hesitated. He did not want Gu Mengmeng to face such a situation, so he sent her away while she was unconscious. He thought that the next time she returned would be during the dry season next year. By then, even if she knew that he had died, a year had already passed and she would not be so upset. Or even, in this year, she would meet new people and new things. Perhaps by then, she would have already forgotten that there was someone waiting for her to escape from the heat on Moda Mountains and live a carefree life. Although being forgotten sounded tragic. But at least she was happy. Gregory felt that that was good enough. But he didn't expect her to come back so quickly. Before he had time to clean up his mess and get rid of all the evidence, she actually came back. There was no use in denying it now. Everything was laid out before him, what was the use of denying it? Nodding his head with difficulty, Gregory spat out a single word, yes. Gu Mengmeng fell violently, as if she was suddenly weightless after using a thin fishing line to tie a 500-kilogram weight. A bloody wound appeared on her heart, but that pain could not compare to Gregory's bloodied back view in front of her. I don't want it anymore. I will return this pair of wings to him and let him continue to keep this mountain under control. I don't want the love of the sky anymore, I don't want it anymore. I want you. Come with me, all right. Baby Meng, don't say such willful words. My wings are already broken. The pair on your body is no longer the love of the sky. Mine is, this kind of thing cannot be reversed. It cannot be returned just because you say so. Gregory sighed and slowly said, I haven't finished talking about the legend. Gregory paused for a moment, as if he was trying to catch his breath. He then coughed twice before continuing. It was said that as long as the partner of the messenger of the beast deity could be revived, then the bird guarding this place would also be reborn. Now, my wings have replaced his and become the new love of the sky, and I will go to another cave to start the ritual. Then, I will be like him, guarding this mountain without wings. So don't be sad, this is not a situation where death is certain. Perhaps. You're trying to trick me again. Gu Mengmeng interrupted Gregory's words and shouted at the top of her lungs, how are you going to lie to me this time? Tell me, can whales be resurrected? Then your wings will grow back, and then you can come back to me? Do you think I'm a 3-year-old? I'm not lying to you this time. I'm telling the truth, Grace explained. Chapter 1488. Gregory's back stiffened and he could not move at all. Gu Mengmeng smiled, cried and pleaded, look, you don't even dare to turn around to look at me. Are you afraid that I will expose your lies, or are you afraid that you will not be able to resist and leave with me when you see me? Gregory, you said you like me, is that true? You like me so much, why are you not willing to turn around to look at me? Do you know how sad I am right now? How helpless, how terrified I am. Look at me, look into my eyes and tell me you don't care, even if I cry myself to death here, you won't care. Baby Meng, stop fooling around. Gregory's tone was filled with helplessness. If it was possible, why would he not want to look at her one more time? Suddenly, the ground shook and Gu Mengmeng fell to the ground. Her scream finally caused Gregory to panic, and he suddenly turned around to look towards the direction of the sound. Gu Mengmeng fell to the ground and was stunned when she saw Gregory's face. Baby Meng? Where are you? Are you okay? Answer me, hurry. Gregory hurriedly walked towards the direction of her voice, but he did not see her sitting on the ground. He directly walked past her, as if he did not realize that there was a bottomless abyss in front of him. He only called out her name anxiously, Baby Meng, don't scare me, where are you? Gregory, I am here. Gu Mengmeng finally could not control her tears anymore. She wanted to put up a brave front and did not want Gregory to think that she was pitying him, so she tried her best not to mention the wings and also tried her best not to cry too obviously. But now, she could not hold it in anymore. Gregory's eyes, that pair of eyes that could accurately find her the size of a sesame seed from 6,000 meters high in the sky, now only had 2 bloody holes left. He was crying just now because of her pleading, because of her pestering, because of her persistence, and what he was crying was not tears but blood. From those eyes, the blood turned into tears and flowed down his entire face. Hearing Gu Mengmeng's voice, Gregory heaved a sigh of relief. Gu Mengmeng could feel that even his breathing was trembling. Gregory turned around and felt his way to Gu Mengmeng's side. He asked gently, what happened? Did you fall and hurt yourself? Does it hurt? Why is his tone like this? Just how serious is his injury? Baby Meng, be obedient and go look for Leah, alright? His medical skills are excellent, he can definitely cure you. Gu Mengmeng reached out and wrapped her arms around Gregory's neck. She hated the smell of blood. It had been since that weird bonfire party during her coming-of-age ceremony. That was why Elvis and Leah did not even allow their tribesmen to bring their prey back to the tribe to be processed. Instead, they would directly process it outside and bring back clean meat. After the incident with Snake, she had become even more resistant to the smell of blood and would usually avoid it as far as possible. But today, the smell of blood did not make her feel afraid or disgusted. Instead, it made her heart ache. He was injured to this extent, but he didn't even frown, but because of her fall, he was confused. Yeah, I'm hurt. It hurts so much. Gregory, stay with me, okay? I'm begging you, I'm injured. Is my leg going to break? It's bleeding. Actually, it was just a scratch. Chapter 1489. It was just that she was too concerned. I recognized this mountain when I flew back, but if I fly out, I won't be able to find the way. If you don't accompany me, I will definitely be trapped in Moda Mountains and I'm injured. Will I die from excessive blood loss on the way? Gregory, I'm scared. Accompany me, just send me out of Moda Mountains, just send me, alright? It's so painful, it's really painful. As Gu Mengmeng said that, she wrapped her arms around Gregory's neck tightly and refused to let go. He clearly had no arms and could not push her away, but she was so afraid that he would struggle free, so she just hugged his neck tightly and begged him coquettishly, sobbing into his ears, hoping to soften his heart. As long as he was willing to follow her down the mountain and out of the Moda Mountains, even if she had to knock him unconscious and tie him up, she would definitely keep him by her side and not let him die on the Moda Mountains. Gregory's body was extremely stiff. Not only was he suffering from the pain of his broken wings, being blinded and his body full of injuries, he was also suffering from the pain of having a new wing, and it was twice as painful as hers. But all the pain seemed so insignificant in front of her hug. Every cell in his body was in so much pain that his organs felt like they were on fire. But seeing her clinging to him like that, he had never felt so blissful in his life. I will arrange for a member of the bird tribe to lead the way and send you out. Without his arms, he could not push her away, but he could not hug her either. This was the first time she had such a strong desire for his embrace, but he could not give her any reciprocation. If there were regrets, this could be considered one. You also felt the tremor just now, right? I must immediately activate the sacrificial ritual, or else this mountain will collapse. By then, my wings would have been broken for nothing, and the entire bird tribe would have to die. Most importantly, once that happened, Gu Mengmeng and her partner would not be able to leave. Promise me, don't take off the feathers on your ears. Because I will become the wind and blow those feathers to tell you that I still love you, that I miss you very much, that I am watching over you. Gu Mengmeng shook her head. Her throat felt like it was being forcefully choked by a hand, and she could not make a single sound. I lived for you, and I will die for you. Baby Meng, I've loved you my whole life. This is the thing I'm most proud of. I won't. Gu Mengmeng cried so hard that she could not breathe. She hugged Gregory tightly and refused to let go. Even if I have to tie you up, I will tie you up. I don't care if this mountain collapses or not, I just don't want you to die. Gregory sighed and said, Baby Meng, I didn't make myself look like this just to make you cry. Be good and smile, okay? Although I can't see, as long as you're smiling, I will feel very happy. Since Gu Mengmeng did not reply, Gregory knew that she must be crying miserably. He smiled and said helplessly, to be able to see you cry for me once before I die, I can die without regrets. I won't allow you to die. Gu Mengmeng almost fainted from crying and her voice was hoarse. I won't die, Gregory promised. I'm only guarding this mountain and waiting for the legendary lord to revive. When that time comes, I will definitely look for you. I'm still waiting for you to like me. I'm still waiting for the next sunny day to bring you to soar in the sky and look down on the beast world. How can I bear to die? Am I right? I don't want you to guard the mountain, I want you to watch over me. Gu Mengmeng had already cried until her nose was blocked. She could not breathe when she spoke, so her words were choppy. Aside from the topic, that's all for today, I'll continue tomorrow. How should I put it, I also don't know what I'm after. Her eyes were already bloodshot and when she wrote this paragraph, she could not control her emotions. Chapter 1490. I will become the wind and always protect you. I promise. Gregory promised. I don't believe you, you lied to me again. Gregory smiled bitterly and said, I swear, if I lie to you again, I will be alone for the rest of my life and never see you again. Look, I lied to you last time, so I made the vow to break my wings and become blind. Looks like my vow is quite effective. I care so much about you, never seeing you again is the most vicious vow. So, believe me one more time, alright? The ground shook violently again and Gregory could not hug Gu Mengmeng. He could only use both his legs to stabilize himself so that Gu Mengmeng would not get hurt because of the shaking. Baby Meng, I really don't have much time left. Be good and leave now. I don't want to leave you alone. Leave with me, together. Gregory clenched his teeth and closed his eyes to pray silently. Then, the wings behind Gu Mengmeng suddenly spread open. The force was so strong that it could not be resisted and Gu Mengmeng was directly brought to the sky by those wings. Gregory! Gregory! Gu Mengmeng's heart-wrenching scream rang through the sky. But Gregory stood on the spot and smiled bitterly at the direction where Gu Mengmeng's voice disappeared. He said, Baby Meng, the cowherd and weaver girl are not actually tragic. At least they can still meet once a year. That is something worth celebrating. If I can really return to your side one day, let's also celebrate Chinese Valentine's Day, alright? The distance was too far and Gu Mengmeng could no longer hear what he said. And Gregory was very clear that he could not wait for Gu Mengmeng's reply. So, he just stood there for a while before walking steadily towards the cave on the other side of the mountain peak. It was said that the two caves on the mountain peak were originally the mouth of a volcano. One of them had been guarded by Wang Xiaoxin's flying partner for thousands of years, while the other, Gregory, stood at the mouth of the lava and took a deep breath. With a smile on his face, his mind was filled with Gu Mengmeng's voice and smile these few days. Even if he died, he would have no regrets. Males in the beast world were never afraid of death. Dying for the female they loved was a supreme glory. Although it was a small mistake to let Gu Mengmeng see his pathetic state at the end, it did not matter. If he could return from nirvana one day, he would use an even stronger version of himself to erase the blemish left behind today. Birds had their own pride. He didn't want his baby Meng to remember him as a useless cripple in the future. Without hesitation or fear, Gregory leaped into the lava. The magma boiled and then gushed out. From afar, it looked like fresh blood was flowing out of one of the giant snake's eyes. This was the second time Moto had cried blood. The last time it happened was when love of the sky became the sex guardian treasure. When Gu Mengmeng saw the lava flowing out from the snake's eye, she knew what had happened. Her vision darkened and she fainted. So what she didn't know was that after the lava stopped flowing, a statue wrapped in lava slowly rose from the cave and finally blocked the entrance. Just like the statue in the other cave, it guarded the highest peak of the Moda Mountains. When Gu Mengmeng woke up again, she was already at the borders of the Moda Mountains. Chapter 1491. Gu Mengmeng opened her eyes and rubbed her throbbing temples. She pulled her lips and tried her best to smile. Li's heart ached terribly. He hugged Gu Mengmeng and said, "Don't smile if you are not feeling well. Who are you putting on a brave front for?" Gu Mengmeng's throat was hurting badly. Luckily, Elvis had already prepared some water for Gu Mengmeng so that she could drink a few mouthfuls to moisten her throat. Moda Mountains had already regained its peace. Gu Mengmeng did not need to ask to know how long she had been unconscious. No matter what Gregory wanted to do, he had already succeeded. She could not stop him. It was too late. Gregory was the real heartless one. He was forcing her to believe in the legend. But what else could she do if she did not believe it? She could say that she was lying to herself or was superstitious. She could only believe that when Wales was resurrected, Gregory would also return. Touching the feathers on her ears, Gu Mengmeng did not say a word and just smiled faintly. He said that even if he could not see, he would feel blissful as long as she smiled. Then, she would smile for him to see. "Where's Wabi-I? He's not back yet?" Gu Mengmeng did not mention Gregory at all. Elvis and Leah naturally would not ask for it. Seeing that she had changed the topic, they just thought that she was unwilling to talk about that sad matter. Gu Mengmeng had always been sentimental. Elvis and Leah could still remember how depressed she had been when Snake died. In comparison, Gu Mengmeng's current reaction was already considered good. He's not back yet, but he probably won't be back. Elvis and Leah could not finish the second half of the sentence. Gu Mengmeng rubbed her forehead and said, "What exactly happened inside? You two tell me." Elvis and Leah exchanged glances but neither of them said a word. Oriton remained silent for a moment before saying, "I'll go hunting first." Leah seemed to have found an excuse and smiled. You must not have eaten any delicious food these days in the mountains. I'll go with Oriton and pick some of your favorite food to cook for you." With that, he left without another word. Gu Mengmeng knew that he was hiding from her, afraid that she would question him. Gu Mengmeng nestled in Elvis's arms and remained silent for a moment before saying, "Tell me, I don't have the energy to waste now and I don't want to waste my energy to guess blindly." Elvis hesitated for a moment before nodding. "Not long after we reached the foot of that mountain, Wabi-I suddenly went berserk. His eyes were bloodshot and he started attacking randomly without differentiating between friend and foe. Leah and I tried to control him but to no avail. Didn't succeed." Gu Mengmeng did not understand. By right, although Wabi-I was strong, he was only a 5th level beast. Elvis was a beast king, there was no reason for him to lose. Moreover, with Li's help, how could the two of them not be able to subdue one Wabi-I? Gu Mengmeng felt very strange. Elvis nodded and said, "The closer Wabi-I got to that mountain, the stranger it got." At first, he was just irritated, but then he started to lose control. He said, it was as if something was calling out to him, causing him to lose control. That mountain. Gu Mengmeng muttered with a frown, but she could not think of anything. Chapter 1492. A secret tunnel that only snakes could pass through? Gu Mengmeng's head hurt terribly. Before entering, Wabiai had mentioned that he had a strange feeling about the Moda Mountains. She had even asked him if he had been here before, but Wabiai said he had no recollection. But there was a snake tunnel here, and Wabiai easily found the entrance in this snow-covered mountain range. Led by something, Gu Mengmeng's mind suddenly exploded. She suddenly recalled that Wabiai had asked her before entering, did the shape of this mountain resemble him? At that time, Gu Mengmeng had even teased him, saying that didn't all snakes look the same? If it was snake, he would also look the same. Wabiai didn't say anything back then, but Gu Mengmeng knew that all snakes looked the same to her, but snakes could differentiate the details. Just like the mark on the back of her neck. She, Elvis and Leah couldn't see any changes, but Wabiai could tell at one glance that it wasn't the mark left behind by Snake. Perhaps, Gu Mengmeng frowned and grabbed Elvis's hand. Let's go see father. I have to go see him. Now? Elvis said worriedly. It's not safe here. If we sleep together, Leah and Oriton can't take care of us. Then I'll go by myself. Gu Mengmeng said. Elvis pursed his lips. How about this, when Leah comes back, you can eat something first. At least don't starve. Then, I'll find a cave to settle down in, and we'll go see the beast deity together, alright? Gu Mengmeng knew that she had obtained the love of the sky, which meant that the doors of time and space were just one step away from opening. Elvis was probably getting more and more uneasy. Alright. Gu Mengmeng didn't insist. 2 days ago, Gregory had told her that Elvis and Leah had already reached the foot of the mountain. That meant that Wabiai had been in trouble for at least 2 days. No matter how anxious she was, she wouldn't be in a short period of time. Because of Gregory, Elvis and Leah were already very worried. She couldn't make them even more uneasy. Leah had brought back many of Gu Mengmeng's favorite fruits. After washing them with the chilly water from the stream, they were as refreshing and sweet as if they had been chilled. Elvis told Leah that Gu Mengmeng was going to see the beast deity. Was not surprised. He just reminded Elvis to take good care of Gu Mengmeng. Even Gu Mengmeng understood the so-called care. Leah was also afraid that she would do something rash when she was in a bad mood, such as passing through the doors of time and space to return to the modern world without looking back. She would never do this, but Elvis and Leah would never believe it no matter what. After lunch, the group set off in the opposite direction of Moda Mountains. After walking for about half a day, they found a cave that was more suitable for them to stay in temporarily. Elvis and Leah went in to tidy up the place and made a simple bed using the newly tanned beast skin from the afternoon hunt. They then let Elvis hug Gu Mengmeng to sleep first. Gu Mengmeng knew that after she fell asleep, Leah would definitely use delicacies as bait to lure Oriton to hunt for more and better beast hides so that she could sleep more comfortably. Actually, she felt that there was no need for that, because she was really not that delicate now. It would not be a problem even if she directly slept on the ground. But she did not say that out loud. Because she knew that Leah was not like Elvis, who could follow her to the dream realm to meet the beast deity. Being alone, he would definitely be more uneasy. Closing her eyes, the white fog gradually filled the air. Gu Mengmeng could feel that Elvis was hugging her even more intensely than before. She did not resist and allowed Elvis to hug her like that. Chapter 1493. The beast deity was still standing at the highest point, welcoming her with a smile. Gu Mengmeng was physically and mentally exhausted. She forced a smile and leaned into the beast deity's arms. She called out softly, "Father, I am back. Io, my little angel, you are so powerful. You even grew wings." The beast deity said in a teasing tone. Gu Mengmeng's eyes were dry. She wanted to cry but could not. She did not know if her tears had all been used up on Moda Mountains. She could only feel her nose aching and her eyes aching. You clearly know what I went through on Moda Mountains, yet you still poke at my heart with those words? I am seriously suspecting whether you are really my biological father now. The beast deity chuckled, as if he did not take Gu Mengmeng's words to heart. He just held her shoulders and brought her to sit on the long bench. He smiled and said, "Look at this place, what's different?" Gu Mengmeng looked around. The green fungus that was originally only 2 square meters had now become so vast that there was no end to it. Other than when she came, she could not see the white fog anymore. Gu Mengmeng guessed that the construction of this illusion was almost complete. As long as she obtained the spirit of the rocky cliffs, the doors of time and space would open. By then, this place should be in its complete form. But other than the area becoming bigger, Gu Mengmeng could not see any other difference. The beast deity did not seem disappointed. He pointed to the grass not far away and said, "Look carefully, there." Gu Mengmeng's gaze landed on the grass for a long time. Other than the waves of movement, she really could not see anything special about the grass. Wait a minute, the grass was moving, because there was wind. The feathers on her ears swayed slightly. Gu Mengmeng's pupils dilated. She looked at the beast deity, dumbfounded. Her face was filled with surprise and joy. She did not dare to say the answer out loud, afraid that she was overthinking and rejoicing for nothing. The beast deity seemed to know what she was thinking about. He smiled lovingly and nodded. He said, "Everything he said to you is true. His wings are the new love of the sky. All the wind in the beast world comes from there. He even chased you all the way here just to tell you." The beast deity purposely paused and did not finish his sentence. He just looked at Gu Mengmeng encouragingly and gestured for her to continue. "He's telling me that he still loves me, that he misses me, that he's watching over me." The beast deity nodded and said, "The separation is temporary. When you gather the 7 treasures and revive that person, Gregory will return. So don't be sad, he is only fulfilling his duty as the leader of the Moda Mountains and protecting them." Gu Mengmeng covered her face and finally cried out. When she woke up, she didn't dare to cry, because Grace said that he would be happy if she smiled, so no matter how sad she was, she still smiled. She forced herself to believe that ridiculous legend because she would break down if she didn't. But the beast deity wouldn't lie, right? He said that Grace was telling the truth, that he would come back. Chapter 1494. Seeing that Gu Mengmeng had calmed down, the beast deity grinned and said, Come, accompany Daddy to watch a television series." "Daddy, that little shit, let's talk after watching the television." The beast deity did not let Gu Mengmeng speak again and just gave Elvis a look. Elvis immediately carried Gu Mengmeng in his arms and sat on the long bench obediently to accompany the beast deity to watch the television. There was no white fog. The beast deity just waved his hand and a screen appeared out of thin air in front of them. The screen was the scene of Gu Mengmeng riding on Snake's neck for a slam dunk. Gu Mengmeng held the ball with both hands and placed it into the basket in a daze. Following the sound of the ball bouncing on the ground, Gu Mengmeng's heart started beating wildly. She understood that Snake was using the slam dunk incident to tell her that no matter what she wanted to do, he would support her. "Thank you," Gu Mengmeng said softly. Snake picked up the ball and bounced it a few more times, saying, "I don't accept verbal thanks. I say, great CEO, I have already sucked up to you to this extent, shouldn't you at least give me a raise?" Gu Mengmeng burst out laughing at Snake's words. Raise her salary? What raise? Monsieur Corporation belonged to him, and he had given it to her out of the blue. She had no right to speak at all. She knew nothing about the operations and business of the corporation. At most, she would be the CEO in name. The real person in charge was clearly the person under her, all right? However, Gu Mengmeng was still grateful that he was willing to lower himself to tease her. So she raised her chin proudly and said, "All right, I will give you a raise." Let's increase it by 20 yuan, okay? All right. Snake smiled exceptionally brightly. He looked up at Gu Mengmeng and asked, do you still want a slam dunk? Gu Mengmeng shook her head and said, put me down. Snake did not reject her and pinched Gu Mengmeng's waist to put her down. Gu Mengmeng wanted to wrap her arms around Snake's neck, but she was not tall enough, so she had an idea and stepped on the basketball. Using the height of the basketball, she managed to wrap her arms around Snake's neck and used his body to stabilize the basketball. Mischievous. Snake frowned slightly and reprimanded her with a face full of affection. Those two simple words were filled with sweetness. What's there to be afraid of? You'll catch me anyway. It's not like I'll fall. Yeah, it's good that you know. Snake was very pleased with Gu Mengmeng's trust. Gu Mengmeng pursed her lips, before abruptly planting a kiss on Snake's lips. She wanted to run after kissing him. But how would Snake let her have her way? Wrapping his arms around her waist, he lifted her up and pulled her into his embrace. Losing her balance, Gu Mengmeng instinctively wrapped her legs around Snake's waist, while his hand supported Gu Mengmeng's but steadily. With this hug, Gu Mengmeng was even taller than Snake by half a head. Snakel stared at Gu Mengmeng's blushing face with a smile and teased, you want to run after flirting with me? Gu Mengmeng was so embarrassed that she could not say a word. It was not the first time they kissed, but it was the first time she took the initiative. Especially after she had just cried and now she was being hugged like this in front of everyone. How long was she going to be laughed at by Bai Lan and the rest before they could forget about today's matter? Gu Mengmeng felt that she might not be able to face anyone for a period of time. Snake did not mind showing off their love in front of everyone. He could not wait for the whole world to know how good their relationship was. Chapter 1495. The evening press conference was originally rejected by Snake, but when it was about to start, Snake received an international call from Country F, saying that when Snake's parents heard that he had transferred the Monster Company to someone else, they thought that he was being bullied in City S, so they immediately flew over in a private jet, saying that they wanted to meet this person who dared to snatch away an entire company from their son's hands. Snake's parents thought that he was being bullied in City S, so they immediately flew over in a private jet, saying that they wanted to meet this person who dared to snatch an entire company from their son. Snake face-bombed. He knew very well what his parents were here for. Looking at Gu Mengmeng, Snake smiled helplessly. Seems like I can't reject the press conference. I will accompany you tonight. Didn't I say I can choose not to go? Gu Mengmeng was instantly terrified. Snake chuckled and rubbed Gu Mengmeng's little head. There's a surprise. It should be a shock. Gu Mengmeng shrunk her neck. I have never handled such situations before. What if I say the wrong thing? Say whatever you want to say. If you can't get it back, then I lose. Snakel said it with ease, lazy and casual, but looking at Gu Mengmeng's anxious look, he could only sigh and add on, don't worry, the media that are invited to attend are all financially related to the Monster Company. They will automatically censor any news that is unfavorable to the Monster Company. Even if a small reporter dares to write about it, he will not be able to pass the many layers of checks from approval to publication. Because those in power will not offend a big financial backer for a small piece of news. So even if you don't trust me, you should trust money, right? Gu Mengmeng felt much more assured after hearing that. She nodded in agreement. Yeah, that's true. Who can't live with money? Snake's face darkened. He was not reliable with money. She didn't trust him, but trusted money. Wasn't he more valuable than anything else? With him around, wouldn't she have as much money as she wanted? The speed at which he earned money was faster than printing it. This little lass was really stupid. How did she even settle the score? TSK, despise. Let's go home and change into our gowns. Snake stuffed Gu Mengmeng into the sports car without any explanation. He sent a text to his assistant before getting in the car. When they returned to the villa, the grooming staff was already waiting at the entrance. Gu Mengmeng was at a loss. Aren't we going to buy the gown first? Snakel chuckled as he pinched Gu Mengmeng's little nose and shook it left and right. You really believe in the plots in romance novels? Buying a dress right before the dinner? Heh, those assembly line products are for the nouveau riche to wear. My woman only wears custom-made clothes. Ah. Gu Mengmeng was dumbfounded, not understanding what was going on. Snake waved his hand across the living room as he opened the door. The dressing staff then understood their working area and started to lay out the work items. That posture was a little scary. Those in the know would think that they were going to help Gu Mengmeng dress up, but those who didn't know would think that they had entered some high-end cosmetics exhibition. Snake ignored the staff's pre-battle preparations and just carried Gu Mengmeng to the second floor. After entering the cloakroom, he pushed open the door of a wardrobe. Inside were 7 to 8 sets of gowns worn by the mannequins, each of them shining with an expensive and extravagant light. Chapter 1496. From cutting to shaping to sewing, every stitch and thread is done by the designer himself. It's on a completely different level compared to the ones in the market where the designer draws a drawing for his disciple. Snakel took 2 steps with his slender legs and arrived behind Gu Mengmeng. He hugged her gently and placed his chin on the side of her face. He said softly, "There is only one piece of work like this in a season by a designer of this level. They are all custom-made for you." Gu Mengmeng's lips twitched and she said, "Did you prepare this because you knew that there would be this media meeting?" Snake shook his head and said, "No, it's just to be prepared. I can't possibly let my woman be flustered when she's attending a banquet, right? Go, pick one that you like. I will match my outfit according to your choice. Shouldn't I be cooperating with you?" Gu Mengmeng asked softly. Snake shook his head and pecked Gu Mengmeng's little face lightly, saying, "Silly girl, I only have one request for you, stay by my side. As long as you cooperate with me on this point, I will cooperate with you on everything else." Gu Mengmeng blushed slightly and lowered her head, saying, "You choose, I'll listen to you, after all, I'm wearing it for you to see." Her words successfully pleased Snake. Snakel pinched Gu Mengmeng's chin and turned her little mouth towards him. His kiss deepened and lingered endlessly until Gu Mengmeng was almost suffocated before he released her reluctantly. Grinding his teeth, Snake panted heavily and said, "If you continue to tempt me like this, I will inform the media to cancel today's press conference, then bring you back to F country to settle the marriage certificate first, then hold a press conference together." Gu Mengmeng blushed, because Snake had told her countless times to save the most perfect first night for the nuptial chamber. So it was clear what this marriage certificate meant. Gu Mengmeng blushed. "Forget it if you don't want to choose, I'll choose myself." Gu Mengmeng was so embarrassed that she struggled out of Snake's arms. She chose a less exaggerated white gown from the 7 pieces of gown. She wore a knee-length A-line skirt with a bow tie. A few simple pleats made her waistline very high, and her body proportions looked exceptionally good. Youthful but not pretentious, pure but not pretentious. Gu Mengmeng felt that a famous artist was indeed a famous artist. It looked simple, but it was definitely not that simple. Every detail exuded meticulous perfection. Perhaps this was the so-called spirit of craftsmanship. Snake was very territorial. He would not let the staff come up to the second floor. The living room was the limit of his tolerance. So Gu Mengmeng's gown was personally changed by Snake. Although he said that he was helping her to change, he was actually just helping her to pull the zipper on her back. Gu Mengmeng dressed herself in the washroom and came out. "Is it nice?" Gu Mengmeng was a little uneasy. After all, she had never thought that she would be able to wear such beautiful clothes in her life, let alone wear them. Snake smiled and nodded. "Of course my woman is beautiful. I'm asking about your dress." Gu Mengmeng lowered her head shyly and pouted. Snake shrugged his shoulders and said, "How would I know if the dress is pretty or not? Anyway, it's pretty on you no matter what." Gu Mengmeng was speechless. "I better go downstairs and ask the makeup artists." They look more reliable than you. Chapter 1497. With a god-like snake around, who would dare to say that Gu Mengmeng's gown was not beautiful? Moreover, it was custom-made by one of the top 10 designers in the world. Not to mention a young and beautiful girl like Gu Mengmeng, even an old lady with one foot in the grave would look stunning in it. Gu Mengmeng felt a little more confident after receiving the unanimous praise from the makeup artists. Sitting on the makeup chair, she allowed the makeup artists to start painting on her face and tugging on her hair. Gu Mengmeng did not dare to move recklessly and looked extremely uneasy. Snake, on the other hand, was much more at ease. He went upstairs and changed into a khaki suit with a white shirt inside. He wore a sapphire cufflinks and a sapphire blue tie, which matched the jewelry Gu Mengmeng was going to wear later. Snakel was very familiar with attending such occasions, so he quickly tidied himself up and sat at the side leisurely as he watched Gu Mengmeng being served by the makeup artists. Gu Mengmeng looked both expectant and uneasy, feeling that she was extremely cute. Gu Mengmeng felt as if two holes were going to appear on her body from Snake's stare. She changed the topic awkwardly and asked, "Didn't you say that the top 10 designers' works are all on the second floor? But why do I only see 7? What about the other 3? Did you give them away?" "I threw them away." Snake answered casually, but Gu Mengmeng was so shocked by this word that she almost bit her tongue. Even if she did not understand the market, she knew how expensive the products personally made by a designer of this stature were. This guy threw them away the moment he opened his mouth. How much money did he waste? Why? Gu Mengmeng blurted out. Snake's face darkened, as if he was still infuriated at the thought of those 3 outfits. He snorted twice before saying, "Bare chest, back, arms and legs. Do you think anyone can look at my woman?" "Humph, top 10, I think it's just an undeserved reputation." Gu Mengmeng understood. He felt that the designs were too revealing, so he just gave them a pass. Gu Mengmeng smiled and did not say a word. Revealing clothes were indeed not her style. Even if he asked her to wear them, she would not be able to wear them out. However, the 3 pieces of clothing that were thrown away felt very wronged. Their skirts were just a little short, about 5 centimeters above the knee. They really could not be considered as exposing the chest, back, arms, and legs. After everything was settled, Gu Mengmeng looked at Snake's khaki suit, which also had the word Meng embroidered on the chest area. She couldn't help but find it funny and said, "It's not appropriate to wear this at such a formal occasion, right?" Snake said disapprovingly, "Not pretty. I'll change to another set." Gu Mengmeng nodded and said, "Change to a normal suit," without any words. Snake stopped in his tracks and turned back to look at Gu Mengmeng in disbelief. He waved his hands to dismiss the makeup artist. The makeup artist did not dare to delay and walked out in a single file without keeping anything. Gu Mengmeng did not understand what was going on with the sudden oppressive atmosphere and could only stare blankly at Snake. Snake approached Gu Mengmeng step by step, his brows furrowed tightly as he asked, "Did I do something wrong?" "Ah." Gu Mengmeng was confused and at a loss. "Are you feeling sorry for the 3 gowns that were thrown away?" "At most. I'll just get them back." "No, I don't like revealing clothes either. Anyway, I won't wear them. Moreover, you've already thrown them away, why would you want to get them back?" Chapter 1498. I'm not angry. Gu Mengmeng was at a loss. Snake gritted his teeth and said, "If you're not angry, why do you have to hide our relationship? I tolerated it when you didn't allow me to say that I know you in school, but now that you've agreed to be my girlfriend, why do you have to make me look like a shameful wild man? Gu Mengmeng, did I embarrass you so much to admit that we're a couple and make it so difficult for you? Are you so unwilling to let others know that I'm your man?" No. Gu Mengmeng was forced back step by Snake's aura. She was extremely timid. Snake forced Gu Mengmeng to a corner and pulled her into his arms a second before she could lean against the wall. He frowned and said, "The wall is cold, don't lean against it. Stick to me." With that, he turned around and leaned against the wall himself. Then, he locked Gu Mengmeng in his arms and continued to ask in a condescending manner, "Since there's no such thing, why don't you let me wear clothes with your name embroidered on it?" Gu Mengmeng was stunned for 2 seconds before she realized what Snake was doing. She was speechless for a moment and even laughed at him. "What are you laughing at? I'm talking about a serious question." Gu Mengmeng shook her head and said, "I'm holding your arm to attend this kind of event. Who wouldn't know about our relationship? Do I have to use a word to explain it?" "I do." Snake insisted, "I want everyone to know that I'm yours the moment they see me, especially those females." "Tisk, do you think you're filming Animal World?" "Females." Gu Mengmeng smiled nonchalantly and said, "I'm saying that as a CEO, you'll be laughed at if you always wear the word Meng on your chest. How is this trying to hide our relationship? I'm Snake, who dares to laugh at me?" Snake raised his head and said arrogantly. Gu Mengmeng sighed helplessly and said, all right. If you don't want to change then so be it." Gu Mengmeng's hand gently touched the word on Snake's chest. Although it was childish, but it was undeniable that it gave Gu Mengmeng a sense of security. Only then did Snake's expression soften. He pinched Gu Mengmeng's chin and warned, "Don't try to hide our relationship. I want to stand with you openly. I want the whole world to know that you are mine. I will kill whoever dares to covet you. I also want the whole world to know that I'm yours. Whoever dares to lean on me, I'll kill their entire family." Gu Mengmeng felt that Snake's words were full of Chuyuni. She only treated it as a joke and did not take it seriously. This was because she still didn't know how he had dealt with Mo Bebe, nor did she know what had happened to her scumbag father. She only knew that Snake had money and power, but she didn't know that for her, Snake could fulfill every word he said. Snake was unwilling to let Gu Mengmeng sit in someone else's car. Only he could be responsible for her safety. Therefore, when the limited edition supercar appeared at the media meeting, it caused an uproar. This mysterious CEO of Monster Corporation rarely made public appearances like this. The first time he was exposed to the media was at the press conference for his abdication, but when the car door opened, the media were stunned. The handsome prince stepped down from the supercar with his 49 inches long legs. He opened the door of the passenger seat with a radiant smile on his face. He was like an elegant ancient European knight holding the princess's hand as they alighted from the pumpkin carriage. The little princess's face was filled with innocence. Anyone who saw her would want to protect her. When the two of them stood together, it was like a beautiful fairy tale. Was it really a press conference for the CEO's abdication and not an engagement ceremony? Aside from the topic, today's update has ended. Regarding Gregory, everyone can rest easy. Don't be too upset. He's not dead. Chapter 1499. At the so-called media conference, Snake and Gu Mengmeng only showed their faces and allowed the reporters to take a few photos. The rest of the public relations were handled by the company's legal department and public relations department, so Snake did not have to worry about it. Inside the venue, it was the gathering of the so-called upper class. Although the Monster Company was nothing in Snake's eyes, it was already one of the top enterprises in the province. Not to mention how many people in City S had to bow down to it to make a living. Even the most influential people in the province had some form of business dealings with the Monster Company. So, a major event like changing the CEO was like an earthquake to S City, so they naturally had to attend and observe the situation. On the other hand, it was because the previous CEO of the Monster Company was too mysterious. After working together for so many years, everyone was extremely curious about his identity. How to put it, it was as if someone was strangling you by the throat, telling you to live or die, but you had never even seen the person strangling you, so anyone would be curious. So when Snake held Gu Mengmeng's hand and appeared in front of everyone, it inevitably caused an uproar. Who would have thought that the person who could beat up a group of experienced people to the point where they could not retaliate was a young lad in his 20s? How was there any sign of him being immature when he was so ruthless in the business world? He was clearly a wily old fox, a troublemaker. Snake did not care about what others thought. He just held Gu Mengmeng's hand and walked directly to the food supply area. He picked a snack for Gu Mengmeng and said, "Eat it if you want. Why are you just looking?" Gu Mengmeng asked in surprise, "There are so many snacks here. How did you know that I want to eat this? Do you know how to read minds?" Snake chuckled and rubbed Gu Mengmeng's little head dotingly, saying, "I don't know how to read minds, but I can recognize the look you like, because you look at me like that occasionally." Gu Mengmeng blushed and lowered her head to take a bite of the snack. From the corner of her eye, she saw someone trying to come forward to talk to Snake, but was blocked by the assistant behind him. All the social interactions were handled by the assistant, not giving anyone any chance to approach Snake. Gu Mengmeng felt that this was not very good, so she said softly, "I can just eat here, you can go and socialize, don't worry about me." Socializing? Snakel looked at Gu Mengmeng in surprise. He turned around to glance at the person who was trying to get closer to strike up a conversation. Without stopping, he looked back at Gu Mengmeng's face and pinched her little face, saying, "I am not here to socialize today, I am here to accompany you. We're together every day, do we still need someone to accompany us?" Gu Mengmeng mumbled in disapproval. "It's different today." Snake's gaze was deep as he said, "I have someone to introduce to you." Gu Mengmeng swallowed the cake in her mouth and asked softly, "Who is it?" "My parents." Snake answered casually, but it made Gu Mengmeng cough. The cake crumbs got stuck in her windpipe, choking Gu Mengmeng until her face turned red. Tears welled up in her eyes as she waved her hands and said, "I'm going to the washroom. I will accompany you." Snake's face was filled with worry and helplessness. Gu Mengmeng shook her head and waved her hands. "I can do it myself." With that, Gu Mengmeng ran off without looking back. Chapter 1500. "Yes, I will take care of it," Snake's assistant replied succinctly. He did not even ask why it was not good, before turning around to negotiate with the organizer. After that, the cake shop that was supposed to receive a lot of praise for hosting the Monster Company's press conference disappeared overnight. It ceased all activities in S City and not a single branch could be found. The reason was, the quality of the cake was not up to standard and it choked the precious daughter of the Monster Company's owner. Let's not talk about this for now. They would only talk about how Gu Mengmeng locked herself in the cubicle after entering the washroom. Her heart was beating wildly at first, but now she could foresee her tragic ending. It's time to wake up from Cinderella's dream. Snake could love her, pamper her, and indulge her, but his parents would never agree to him dating a worthless and down-and-out girl like her. That's right, if she was Snake's mother, she would not like her either. Snake was blinded by love and looked at her no matter what. But his parents, on such an occasion and with so many reporters at the entrance, if there was some scandal of Cinderella's dream of becoming a wealthy family being shattered, wouldn't there be a huge uproar? She was just a nobody and people would quickly forget about her, but Snake would definitely be criticized by others. Moreover, with Snake's stubbornness towards her, he would definitely go against his parents for her and things would get out of hand. Gu Mengmeng bit her lower lip and patted her face. She tried her best to smile and tell herself, "It's all right, I've already been very happy during this period of time." One should not be too greedy or they would suffer retribution. With that thought, Gu Mengmeng gathered her emotions and prepared to push open the door to wash her face. Then, she would borrow a set of clothes from the cleaning lady and sneak away before things got out of hand. But she realized that the cubicle door had been blocked from the outside. Gu Mengmeng tried to push it open but to no avail. Then, a voice altered by a voice changer came from outside the door. "My parents divorced when I was 4 and my parents remarried. A burden that no one wants. How dare you get involved with Snake? Trash should stay in trash places, don't have any wishful thinking." With that, a basin of dirty water poured down from above her head. Gu Mengmeng could not dodge in time and her head was drenched. If she was a girl from a normal family, she would have curled up in a corner, trembling and crying for help. But just like what the other party had said, Gu Mengmeng was a burden that no one wanted. She had long recognized the fact that no matter how miserable she was, no one would come to save her. She could only count on herself. So Gu Mengmeng lifted her leg and gave the door a hard kick. One side of the door handle was firmly blocked, but the other side of the lotus leaf was not so sturdy. With the first kick, the loud sound scared the people at the door. Before they could react, the second kick followed. Then the door flew out with a bang. The people at the door were so shocked that they forgot to escape. Still holding the voice changer in their hands, they stared at Gu Mengmeng in a daze. Without a second word, Gu Mengmeng grabbed the other party's hair and knocked her down. Then, riding on her back, she slapped the voice changer so hard that it flew away. Gu Mengmeng's eyes were bloodshot from crying. She glared at the woman she was riding on fiercely and said, "Don't use those childish methods of school bullying to deal with me. Splashing dirty water and locking toilets is something that only people play in junior high. I will leave Snake, but not because of your threats. You are not worthy." Aside. Chapter 1501. Just as Gu Mengmeng raised her arm to give the woman a second slap, her wrist was grabbed. Gu Mengmeng looked up abruptly. The person holding onto her wrist was none other than Snake. His thin lips were pursed and his gaze was sharp. His entire gaze was locked onto her, not giving a single glance to anyone else. But his gaze was filled with disappointment, sadness, and anger. Gu Mengmeng chuckled. Yes, he should be angry. What kind of occasion was this? He had brought her here, but she had dirted herself all over. Now, she was even riding on someone else's body to fight like a shrew. If it was her, she would also be disappointed and angry. Gu Mengmeng pulled her arm away, but Snake did not let go. Instead, he tugged forcefully and pulled Gu Mengmeng into his arms. He did not seem to care that the filth on her body would land on him. He just locked her tightly in his arms and went up to the second floor without a word. The socialite who had been slapped finally reacted and started bawling loudly, as if she had suffered a great grievance. But she did not cry for long before she was forcefully taken away by the security guards and locked in the storeroom, as if awaiting trial. Snake brought Gu Mengmeng to the exclusive resting room on the second floor. Although it was called a resting room, the interior design was actually very similar to a hotel's presidential suite. It was a place for guests to rest after getting drunk, so it was fully equipped with a bathroom and everything else. Snake placed Gu Mengmeng in the huge bathtub and adjusted the temperature to turn on the water. Then, he started taking off her clothes without saying a word. Gu Mengmeng crossed her arms and looked at Snake warily. "What are you doing? Not washing? Do you want to stay dirty? Don't you feel uncomfortable?" Snake avoided Gu Mengmeng's eyes and stared fixedly at the dress that was stained by the dirty water. Gu Mengmeng pushed Snake and said, "I will wash myself, you can go out first." Snake's body froze and did not move. After a while, he suddenly laughed coldly and said, "I will go out." "And then? So that you can take the chance to leave me?" Gu Mengmeng was stunned. She knew that Snake was angry, but she did not expect that the reason for his anger was because he heard her say that she wanted to leave him. Lowering her head, she took a deep breath and said, "Snake, let's break up." Snake acted as if he did not hear anything, but the veins on his temples throbbed and his chest rose and fell violently. He gritted his teeth and said, "Shower first." "Snake!" Gu Mengmeng roared. Snake looked up, his green eyes darkening. He was angry, really angry. "I told you, what are you going to call me?" Snake pinched Gu Mengmeng's chin with one hand and said with a cold expression, "Don't make me angry, just call me properly. As long as you are obedient. I can pretend that nothing happened just now. I heard everything and you didn't say anything." Gu Mengmeng's face was cold as ice. Gu Mengmeng's chin was hurting from being pinched, but how could it be more painful than her heart? She had been telling herself from the start that Snake was not from the same world as her and that she would eventually lose him. But she couldn't control her heart, and she still sank into his love. After drifting for more than 10 years without anyone to rely on, she finally had someone to rely on. It was like a drowning person grabbing onto a life-saving straw. Asking her to leave him now was as painful as gouging out her heart. Chapter 1502. We belong to two different worlds, we don't have a future. Wake up, it's better for everyone if I leave. Gu Mengmeng's tears fell uncontrollably from the corners of her eyes, her sorrowful gaze making Snake's heart wrench. He hugged Gu Mengmeng tightly in his arms, whispering into her ear, I know, we belong to two different worlds. So I came to your world to find you, I came to your world to wait for you. You clearly like me too, don't you? Why do you have to leave? Snake's voice was trembling, every word sounding so heavy in Gu Mengmeng's ears. Gu Mengmeng sniffled, your parents are here. They won't agree to us being together, I don't want to see you get hurt for me, that's why I left. Snake's back stiffened, then he suddenly smiled, holding on to Gu Mengmeng's shoulders, squinting his eyes at her, so you want to leave? Gu Mengmeng nodded, not daring to look into Snake's eyes. Snake heaved a long sigh, he was really furious, so furious that his eyes were about to crack open, but he could not do anything to her. He really wanted to crack open her head to see what was inside. He knew without a need to crack. You watched too many television dramas. Snake gritted his teeth, from today onwards, you are forbidden from watching those useless romance novels and messy television dramas. Gu Mengmeng was confused, weren't they talking about breaking up? Wasn't the atmosphere so heavy just now? What did it have to do with romance novels and television dramas? Romance novels and television dramas were innocent. Snake narrowed his eyes, do you think my parents will throw a check at your face to make you leave me? Gu Mengmeng was taken aback, then nodded. Do you think my mum will splash water at you? Snake asked again. Gu Mengmeng nodded again. With every nod from Gu Mengmeng, Snake's cold smile grew wider, then he asked again, do you think if you don't break up with me, my parents will put me under house arrest? Then I will go on a hunger strike, my parents will use your safety to threaten me, forcing me to compromise. In the end, I will have no choice but to follow my family's wishes and marry someone I don't like, then we will be strangers, never to meet again, right? Gu Mengmeng blushed and nodded again. Snake lifted his hand, really wanting to strangle her. Unfortunately, he could not bear to do so. In the end, he only knocked on her forehead and said, are you comparing me to those useless trash in novels? Gu Mengmeng was stunned. She could not keep up with Snake's pace. Snake pinched the space between his brows and said, I know your desire for kinship, so I want to introduce you to my parents. After all, when we get married in the future, they will be your family. I want to make up for the regrets in your family. I want to be loved and protected by my parents like everyone else. Let's not talk about this first. You'll understand later. Gu Mengmeng was still in a daze and could only stare blankly at Snake. Snake continued, in your eyes, am I a useless piece of trash? Gu Mengmeng wanted to nod her head out of habit, but after receiving Snake's gaze, she immediately snapped back to reality and shook her head. Snake sighed heavily before saying, do you think I will allow someone to throw a check at you? Splash water on you? Then, you put me under house arrest and bullied you? Chapter 1503. Snake was really speechless. He could not explain to Gu Mengmeng what kind of preparations he had made in the 19 years he had been waiting for her. All the obstacles in their way had long been cleared by him. There was no one in the entire family who dared to criticize Snake. He was the pillar of the entire family. Snake's words, it's easy to let a family prosper, but it's even easier to destroy a family, had been a constant reminder to everyone in the family. In the past 19 years, Snake had become the absolute truth in the family. Everything he did was correct. So the woman he liked was the goddess of the entire family. The melodramatic plot that Gu Mengmeng was worried about would never happen. But he could not reveal his identity to Gu Mengmeng for the time being. Take a bath. I'll bring you to watch a show after you're clean. Snakel tore Gu Mengmeng's clothes and threw them to the side without any hesitation. Seeing how Gu Mengmeng was trying to cover up an embarrassment, he said coldly, "You will be mine sooner or later, why are you blocking me?" Gu Mengmeng's face was so red that it looked like blood was about to drip out. But she could not struggle against Snake. In the end, she could only helplessly allow Snake to wash her inside and out. Then, he wrapped her up in a large bath towel and placed her beside the dressing table. He used a small hair dryer to blow her hair. This was not the first time Snake had bathed Gu Mengmeng. He had bathed her once in the beast world. But that time, she was poisoned by his snake venom. Not to mention struggling, it was questionable if she could even breathe. So the bath was very smooth that time. But today, the more she struggled, the more obvious his reaction was. Using Gu Mengmeng's words, he was a 1,000-year snake demon who had lived 2 lifetimes. Yet, he was tormented by her in a bathtub like a young boy. Gu Mengmeng's face was as red as a ripe apple. She curled up there and let him blow dry her hair. She looked so pitiful that she was about to cry. It was really lovable. Snake squatted down and peeked her little face out of the bath towel. "If you feel that you're at a disadvantage, let's go back to the bathroom. I'll strip myself naked for you to wash back, alright?" Gu Mengmeng's face turned even redder. She stiffened her neck and turned her face to the other side. She did not want to look at Snake. Snake smiled and said, "You hurt my heart by casually saying that you want to break up, and you have no intention of coaxing me. So I took my own benefits to make up for it. You have no right to be angry, understand?" Snake pinched Gu Mengmeng's little chin and turned her face towards him. "It's not that you can't escape when you meet with a tricky situation, but you can only escape into my arms. If you dare to have any thoughts of leaving me again, no matter what the reason is, I will take care of you on the spot, and then tie you up to get your marriage certificate. Do you hear me?" Gu Mengmeng hesitated, not daring to nod. Snake took a deep breath and said patiently, "Gu Mengmeng, listen carefully. You are mine and can only be mine. Don't even mention the fact that you can't escape from me. Even if you do, I'll turn the world upside down to find you. Besides, you have my mark on you. No one in this world would dare to hide you. The whole world will send you back for me. Do you understand?" Gu Mengmeng felt aggrieved. Why did it sound like he was threatening her? Chapter 1504. Seeing how Gu Mengmeng refused to express her stance, Snake felt helpless. He could resolve a financial crisis worth tens of billions within 3 days, make his competitors fall from the clouds into the mud within 3 hours, and make Monster Company's stocks rise to the upper limit within 3 minutes, creating billions of profits for the company. But he could not make this little person in front of him say that she would not leave him. In this world, the only opponent he could not defeat was probably her. Helplessly holding onto Gu Mengmeng's shoulders, he turned her towards him and said as if surrendering, "You were the one who wanted to abandon me, shouldn't I be the one who should be angry?" Gu Mengmeng's heart ached as she muttered softly, "I did not want to abandon you. I only wanted to let you go." She finally opened her mouth and Snake felt a little relieved. Gu Mengmeng looked at Snake and felt her nose sting. Feeling wronged, she said, "Who would be willing to give up such a perfect boyfriend like you? I have never been cherished and treasured like this before. Do you know how hard it is to let go? I can't wait to stick to you for the rest of my life, but one cannot be too selfish. You are like the moonlight, only to be looked up to. How can I drag you down from the sky into the mud to suffer in this dirty world with me? I like you so much, so I can't bear to become your flaw. I had to grit my teeth to let you go. I did not abandon you." Snake was stunned as the corners of his lips curled up uncontrollably. He narrowed his eyes and said, "What did you say just now?" Gu Mengmeng said in a daze, "I said, I did not abandon you." The previous sentence. "I had to grit my teeth to let you go." The previous sentence. "I can't bear to become your flaw." Snake shook his head and said, "Not this sentence." The previous sentence. Gu Mengmeng thought for a while and said softly with uncertainty, "I like you so much." Snake pulled Gu Mengmeng into his arms and hugged her tightly. He heaved a long sigh of relief, as if the rock pressing on his chest had finally been lifted. He said, "I have waited so long, waiting for you to say that you like me. I have been waiting so long that my heart is anxious. So you are not forced to stay by my side because of the contract, but because you like me, right?" Gu Mengmeng nodded. "Are you an idiot? If she didn't like you, would she let you hug and kiss her whenever you wanted? If I don't like you, I'll let you sleep in my bed? I didn't like it when you were in the bathroom just now. I'd rather kill myself than let you bathe me." The more Snake heard, the more delighted he became. He was overjoyed but did not know how to express it. He could only kiss Gu Mengmeng's lips fiercely, with ecstasy and a tinge of punishment. Ouch, it hurts. Gu Mengmeng's lips were bleeding from Snake's bite. She frowned at Snake and pouted coquettishly. Snake raised his eyebrows and smiled evilly. "Serves you right. Who asked you to kidnap my woman?" Don't you know that I won't be able to eat, sleep or live without my Tu Meng? How could you be so heartless? You clearly know that my woman likes me too, but you still want to kidnap her. Won't Tu Meng be sad if she leaves me?" Gu Mengmeng lowered her head, feeling a tinge of sweetness in her heart. She nodded and said, "You will be sad, definitely. You're tuning into the Dreamy Love Stories YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.